Hey guys and girls, it's Blackjack with 396 Guitars. We're back with the Lefty Strat, 1993 model. It was born a lefty. Refer to the first video. Neck and body, from everything that I could see, were mated and born together. Traveling musician. We're doing a little bit more than a soft restoration, but less than a full-blown restoration. We're not doing any paint work or anything, but we're going quite far, so let's get to work, and I'll catch you up on where we're at. And remember, if you dig what I'm doing, like and subscribe, and by all means, please share. The body is gutted, the neck is off, we have everything out. I was able to, it appears as though we're going to be able to save the nut sets, the thread sets, I'm sorry, for the 2-point bridge. They were proud to the body, meaning that they were sticking up, especially the bass side. But I was able to tap them down in there, and they didn't want to go back down in easily, but I got just the right size 1/4-inch drive impact socket and just very lightly tapped until now we're level. Okay, and this one was lifted up really high. This one was a little bit high, but not as bad as the bass side. The treble side was in there. I think they're going to be fine. We have 2 new bolts coming for those. Today's object lesson is cleaning. Man, when you get a guitar that is in this kind of condition, it needs some real cleaning. Now, before we get into that, there's a couple of steps I'm going to do just to show you what I do to get this up to where I don't need a tetanus shot every time I touch it. All of the hardware that I took out of here, the bridge, the saddles, everything I have soaking in a solution, even the springs, because they were just absolutely caked with decades of sweat, DNA, dirt, dust, green stuff, just you name it. They're soaking. I'm going to clean that and show it in the next video when we get ready for assembly. Today it's going to be the body, cleaning it, dismantling this puppy and cleaning it and getting it ready to go back in. Once we get all this process done, then we're on to assembly and bringing this guitar back to life. Paper towels, lots of them. It's just a matter of, to get started, we're taking the outside layer off. And it really is just some elbow grease, and you're going to go through a lot of paper towels, especially with a guitar that's in this condition. It's okay. I don't want to make it sound like I'm bitching about it, because I'm not. I'm digging this guitar a lot. But we got to clean it. We got to clean it. I mean, you can see that spooge. Thank God it's not a Gibson, because that would be nitro and it would be a real problem. This stuff, mostly you can wipe a good portion of it off. All we're taking is the big stuff off. It's got a poly clear coat on it. And yeah, like I said, lots of paper towels. There's no easy way to do this. You just have to get after it. And I'll probably go through half of that bottle of cleaner, because the rest of it is going to be a buff pad and, you know, a buff pad and a drill. Get the power tool out. In doubt, get on the power tools. All right, so I'm not going to show you every little detail, but just this part of cleaning it is going to make a big difference. And I want to illustrate buckle rash, but something on top. I'm going to illustrate just how far we can take it just by wiping it down, right? This is the trickiest part right here when we're cleaning, because I can't get a buffer in there. I don't have one of those, but we'll get it. The flat surfaces, everything's going to come off. But already you can tell the difference just from getting the thick stuff that's just sitting on there. Everywhere there was a screw or a control plate or something. I mean, you can see difference in color where the pick guard was and where where it wasn't. So that's that part, right? That didn't take long. This was the part I'm afraid of getting down in this little cavity, because it is just nasty in there. Down here. I can't even begin to tell you what's in this. The trim cavity, the bridge cavity. It is just stuff. There's so much stuff in there. I vacuumed and blew it out outside with the compressed air before I did any of this, just to get most of it out of there. But holy cow, I mean, you know, yeah. That's what happens when you take guitars on the road, man, and play them and play them and play them. Sooner or later they revolt against you and they stop being nice to you, and you got to be nice back to them. And that's where we're at with this guitar. That's going to take a toothbrush. I'm going to have to actually get down in there with a toothbrush. But the next step, and I'm going to start on the back side just to show you. First you wipe it down, and then we're going to basically use a buff pad. Right? A buff pad and some good old McGuire's. This is really soft cleaning compound. And don't be afraid to use some of it. And don't use your drill on high. Get some on the pad, right? And dab it in the areas that you're going to work first. Slow. And don't go too far. Put a little bit. Work that area. Move on to the next area. And all you're doing is dabbing it on. I'm doing the back because it's the easiest part. Trying to get where the neck plate was. There's a lot of crap built up. It may take several passes. Now, when you get done with that one, that's a cutting pad. Dry. You're just basically using the stuff that's already on the body. Right? we're going to wipe it down. I still have some work here to do. That's going to be a little sticky and doesn't want to come off, but that's because the neck plate was there. This is just a cleaning process. This is not, we're not trying to buff it to a high shine. But what we did was we took everything off of there. And now it's nice and smooth and clean. The outline, that was, all the goop that was covered there where the back cover was on, it's gone. And you can see the difference, right? That's all you got to do. Now, this is going to be a little bit more of a process. It may actually need me to get a little bit of a brush on it. I want to take that down because I don't want that on there when I put the neck plate back on. But you can see the difference. And I'm going to do that through the whole, on the whole guitar, the sides, the front, everything. You follow? So when I come back, I'll have that whole process done. And then we're going to move on to removing all of that stuff. And we got to clean this up the same way. It has to be clean and ready to go so I can solder in all the new controls. Yeah. And the lapse time, off camera, on camera, even though this will only be a 25-30 minute video, it's probably going to be a couple of hours worth of work. So hang in there with me, stand by. So the body is all done. Well, as done as we're going to make it. The entire route for the trim is cleaned out, the spring claw route. Everything up here is nice and buffed out and clean. This is as good as it's going to get. It looks like brand new compared to what it was. That's all good. Next victim, yeah, we're going to get these electronics out of here because they're all, except for the pickups, everything else is gone. I'm going to put 3 new pots and rewire this thing with the correct hardware. The mini bucker Seymour could be a problem, but we'll find out when we cross that junction. See if these are going to cooperate and just come off. No. Dismantle, and then I'm going to give the pick guard the same treatment I just gave the body. I'm going to literally get after it with a wheel and just buff it out clean on both sides. And likely we'll have to reapply some copper shielding back here because a lot of the shielding that's on here is deteriorated and it's not going to make it. And if you're going to do it right. And do it right from the beginning. I wanted to mark these neck and middle, you know, because they're coming out. Yup. I don't know who put this Seymour Duncan in here, but it was not a good job. In fact, I am not even going to save these screws because better because I may need to reuse them. It looks like they're oversized. More crap coming out of there. I'm going to have to clean up the pickups even. Jesus, Mary and Joseph. All right. They didn't even take the time to wire up the pickups right. Jesus. Okay. Well, I was expecting that, sort of. Yeah, this is not wired up at all correctly. My God. My God. that's going to need to be cleaned. Let's just follow through and get our pickups out. I'm assuming we got a white and a blue. Blue is going to be our ground. Red. Oh, they got red with black with a red stripe. That must be the ground there. Wow, what a mess. What an absolute mess. All right, let's at least get the pickups out. I did mark them. Yeah, let's see. I'm going to pause while I dismantle the rest of this, and then I'm going to clean it, because I do want to go over one other thing with the headstock on the neck in this video, which is taking all the tuners out and addressing what looks like could be a crack at the top of the headstock. So stand by. I'll be right back. Okay, so yeah, a lot of work. Okay, you saw what we did with the body. That came out beautifully. I mean, yeah, it's rough and it's got some character, and people pay extra for that these days. That's the way you do it. You play a guitar for 30 years and it'll end up looking like that. We did the same thing with the pick guard. Now, I'm going to, off camera, I'm going to put some shielding back here because much of it is deteriorated. Now, the way I wire up the control plate for a Strat, it's going to be grounded. It's going to have redundant ground, but I still want to put a little bit of shielding on there. That came out looking pretty good. How did I do it? Yeah, little elbow grease, soap and water. I had these soaking. That's the bridge and the trem block. A lot of rust on here. I'm going to have to take all of the saddles off, clean them up better, make sure that they're all free. They all look pretty good, but I got some really bad. This is the side that was the bass side that I said was lifted up. It's actually, there's crusty rust and stuff from that one thread set that was raised up, and it's dissimilar metal, and that's why right there. You can see right there, all that crud on there. So I'm going to have to get this on the wire wheel and knock all that down. Otherwise, when I put it all back together, it's still going to be raised up. Same thing with the trim springs. You can't clean these all the way because you have to be able to hold them apart and scrub them, and there's all kinds of rust and crud. We may reuse them, we may not. But that's caught you up on the last 2 hours, of cleaning. So it's all good, it's all good. It's coming along. It's just going to take some time. So the last thing I wanted to address was these guys right here. We're going to take them out. I believe these are, they don't look, no. These are the old style, and they're a little bit larger. They're probably 11 or 7/16, I would guess. They're kind of crusty too. I just want to get them off and clean them the best that I can. And I really want to look at this crack up here and see if it's really a crack or if it's just appears to be, and maybe it was repaired earlier in its life. And that'll be today's exercise. Come out of there, you. Tedious. It's very tedious work, and you have to pay attention to more than one thing at a time, and you have to have a plan. And of course, eventually we're going to have to get after the frets, but that's going to be final. That's going to be leading up to after assembly or getting ready for final assembly. Got a lot of work to do before we get to that juncture. All right, you gonna come out of there or not? Yeah. I'm not sure if these tuners are going to make it. They're really cruddy and rusty, especially the adjustments, and I'm sure other parts of them are going to be cruddy and rusty. And to make it playable and playable correctly, you know, tuners are pretty important. Get out of there. Oh, these are a little bit different. I haven't seen these style in a long time. As I said, in the 90s, Fender was doing all kinds of weird stuff. I didn't know if they wanted to be a U.S. company or ship everything offshore, and I bet dollars to donuts. Yeah, this is all aluminum stuff except for the washers. That's all right. That's all right. Get out of there. So this is what I wanted to really look at. One of the pins came out of one of these. That one right there. I'll lose that. It's got a single pin holding it for the swivel back here. Oh yeah, there's 3 holes. So these are aftermarket, probably not Fender. This is what I really wanted to pay attention to, is this headstock. I don't think it's going to be an issue, but is it flexing at all? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that it had been probably repaired at one time in its past. Oh no, it's flexing. So I'm going to have to do a repair on that. It is flexing. You know, it is flexing right there. There's a crack right there that's very prominent, and there's actually another one there, and it goes from the high E to the B. But I think if we get the one at the top, if we can separate it slightly, get some glue down in there and clamp it, we're going to be golden. It's not terrible. I was afraid of that, but not afraid. But I knew that was something I had to pay attention to. We're not going to do that in this video. We did a lot today, but it was very little in this video, but a lot off camera. But I wanted to show, you know, what we were doing just to get things cleaned to where, and I still have to clean this all up. This thing is sticky and tacky, and yeah, it's got a lot of life on it. I'm going to call it a day with this one. This I'm going to fix off camera, and I'm going to try to clean all these up and see if they're usable. If they're not, we're going to put a new set of tuners in it, because yeah, if you go this far, that's money right there, man. If you can't have stability in your tuner, why bother with all the other stuff that we're doing? You follow? It's Blackjack with 396 guitars. 1993 left-handed Fender Stratocaster USA model. It's pretty original and it's pretty gacked, but we're going to get it back to its former glory, and this guy is going to get back on the road and rock and roll with it. We'll talk soon. Again, remember, if you dig what I'm doing, like and subscribe, and by all means, share.